So,
thank you to Randy and Mandy for getting this all put together.
yay! And unfortunately, they haven't seen it yet. So
Yeah.
we're kind of
Hopefully
Roger.
there's no embarrassing pictures in there.
Only one, and it's her. So we're
Oh,
okay.
I didn't put that in there. He snuck it.
I snuck it in. So I got the privilege to preach in Africa. Roger was not feeling well. He came to me Saturday night and said, "Randy, can you?" And I went, "Yeah." I was a little hesitant, but it was an opportunity for me to do that. And they basically just told me, let the Holy Spirit lead. And that's kind of what Mandy and I did when we built this presentation. We're just going to kind of let the Holy Spirit lead and try to explain to you the things we saw, the things we did, and the people that are over there that you guys are supporting as a church and as a mission. So this is our missionary group. There are two people up there that you may not know. One is Bob Thatcher and Sue, his wife. And Roger, can you kind of tell us a little bit about Bob and Sue? And
Bob's a professional engineer and has been working for CH2M all over the world up until he retired, I think, in 2020. But ever since then, he has made at least 2 missionary endeavor trips each year. And he'll go anywhere somebody says there's a need. We need a roof, we need a building planned, we need, cabins repainted. He puts together a trip, takes people with him. He's just that kind of guy.
see if this works. There we go. So this is a typical home that's over there. The round ones are called rondavels. Mm-hmm. I got it right. Yes, first time. And then the house. A lot of times you'll have one family that lives on an area like this. They usually have 3 to 4 kids, grandparents and parents that live in this little huts and things like that. So we just kind of want to give you guys an idea of what the living conditions were like over there. And that's what this first part is. This is a strip mall. This is actually, for them, it's a city. For us, it's a strip mall. When we went by, everything was closed, but about 9 or so in the morning, whenever they decide they want to open shop, all those doors get opened up, and there's various different people selling tires, people selling hardware goods, food, whatever they might have that day and to put in their store to be able to do that. And this is their wonderful toilet system. This is actually a pristine one and a fancy one.
This is the high-class toilet.
It has bricks. Otherwise it doesn't. Just kind of want to give you guys the idea of the conditions that these people, a lot of them don't have running water, electricity, or what we consider flushing toilets. This is the Bible college, the first night we stayed at, and it's South African Bible college. It is surrounded, you'll notice, by a concrete wall with Cosentino wire on top of it. Most of their homes have those types of fencing. Whether it's brick or whether it's stone or whether it's a cyclone fence with barbed wire on top of it to keep the animals and the people out. So they live in conditions, this is a dictatorship, has been since 1979, is that correct? And a very poor country that we went to. So this Bible college right now had 70 students. It teaches two things and only 2 things. One, it teaches ministry, so it sends out preachers, and the other, it teaches chaplaincy. And so basically ministers that go out to, whether it's a clinic or whether it's a village, to preach the word. And so if they get females and males both can become chaplains. Males are considered ministers and can go through the ministry classes there. This is if this works, he may have to push the button. This was a youth, this was the Bible college kids were actually doing a worship service Sunday evening when we arrived. And so we stopped, but we'd like to give you guys kind of an idea of what it sounds like.
It was so much louder there.
I don't know how Roger and Patty sat where they did.
Being in the city, they have a sound system, so they were able to project, and it was very loud.
And as youth, they love to crank it up.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
do.
do.
They like loud music. When we show you one in the in Miranda Station, where we were on Sunday, you'll see that it's a little bit different because they don't have the sound system. They just use their voices and some drums, and you'll discover they really like their. I don't think I put any of the whistles in, but they do like their whistles.
Yeah, and hearing the songs in Shona, because it was all done in Shona, I didn't understand the words, but there were a couple of the songs, even for the youth, that you knew the tune. And so you were able to sing along with them, which was really neat to think that, you know, we do it in English, they do it in Shona, but it's the same God in two places, so. I'll let Mandy talk about this. This is Victoria Falls. So I'll let you talk about Victoria Falls.
So this is out of the airplane as we're flying into Harare to go to Zimbabwe. This is Victoria Falls from the airplane, from the sky. That is how much water they had, that stuff there. That is actually spray from the falls falling. So they had record rainfall, and you can usually see it from the sky, but that was pretty spectacular. Just, you know, reminds us how small we are in God's world and all the beauty that He created, because that was truly a beautiful sight to behold, which we have a picture of it.
Yeah. I think that's next. So this is, the falls are 2 miles long. They're the longest falls in the world, considered one of the natural
Seven
wonders of the world. And my first question to Bob Presley, because he's an engineer, I asked him how many gallons of water does he think is coming over the falls, and he just looked at me and grinned. So you'll see in just a moment why.
He didn't want to do that math.
He didn't want to do the math.
And that's just a small section of the falls.
What's interesting for Roger and I this time was when we went 2 years ago, it was a drought season. So at that time we thought it was spectacular. But the water volume was nothing like it was this time.
The beginning of the Nile River.
What's that?
It's the Nile River.
This is
Zambezi.
Zambezi River. Yeah. We were
Yes,
fall. Yeah,
they're fall.
they're fall. Yeah, they're starting into winter. But the falls, the spray, you can actually see there where the spray comes straight up and comes off the rocks, and then it comes down in what we would call a torrential downpour.
You get drenched.
But
I have a
Rain
video.
color
I
dot.
do have a video of just standing there with it falling, so you can hear the rain. You can't see much because it's just a bunch of water, but.
so we got to sample some. We got to sample some of their native food. One of the things that they eat as an appetizer is a mapani worm. It looks more like a caterpillar. We don't have a really good picture of it, but if you want to look it up on the internet, they turn into an emperor moth is what they turn into eventually. But they stick them on a skewer and then they roast them. And to me, it was like eating a shrimp. Just it was crunchy on the outside and then chewy on the inside.
Closer to calamari.
Yeah. So, so we did try some native food. This is from the Boma, and it's a commercialized African restaurant. So they have all their native food there.
Similar to a luau for Hawaii.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun to go and see this and then see them doing their dancing and drums and sampling the food. They had crocodile, they had water buffalo, pig, and there was one other goat that was there. So
They do like their goat.
and their main course is chicken. Meat is chicken or goat. Those are the two main meats that they eat. And the chicken, I was warned ahead of time to bring a glass of or a bottle of water with you, and it was true. They cook it pretty dry. Nothing's moist like what we do here, so.
It's very well done.
So this is the Mapani worm, and you get a little certificate signed by the chef if you eat one, so.
Way to go.
Way to go, Mandy.
It was tasty. I didn't eat it.
You guys can't see this. If you want to see these pictures, we can show them to you. But we all got our face painted, and it wasn't an option. The guy just came by and said, "I paint your face," and the brush was already there. So each one of us got either an animal or a tree or something along those lines.
What did Nancy get?
What's that?
Nancy got a butterfly. Hers
Nancy-
was really light. The rest of ours were dark. So we had lions and a giraffe, an elephant. Randy got a hippo.
Mine was an acacia tree with the sunset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hers was beautiful. He gave me a porcupine.
Well,
I don't know why.
Kind of prophetic.
so this was normally what we do is when you go on a missions trip, you usually do something touristy at the end of your mission trip. Because of our schedule, we did it at the very beginning of our trip. And so we went to Victoria Falls, we did this, and then we did a safari the next day and saw all the animals. And I didn't want to put a bunch of pictures of animals up here. We just didn't have the time to be able to do that. But if you guys want to, we have plenty of pictures of those animals and that we saw. So this is Harare, the Harare airport. This is their tower. And we entered Zimbabwe. This is kind of where we started our mission trip. And we all laughed that this is where the work begins. And the very first thing we get there, the bus that they had rented for us to get to the college that night, they just decided not to show up. So for an hour and a half, we stood and waited for them to be able to get someone there for us to be able to get to the college.
Africa time.
Yep.
African time, whatever.
This is the guest house. And at Miranda's, does anybody want to talk about, you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where the ladies stayed. We ended up having 6 of us by the end of the trip because Donna's niece, Addie, came and joined us near the end. But there's 3 rooms in there, and so we had 3 per room, and then where that little rectangular window is, that's the bathroom. It does have a flushing toilet, so we did let the guys use that during the day. At night, they were on their own in the little Blair toilets. We had to evict 3 different frogs 3 different days from our living quarters, but they let the spiders stay. I don't know why. But anyway, that's where the women stayed, and so most of us slept in mosquito nets. So we had a mosquito net, but because it was their fall and it was cooler and it was wet, we actually didn't have a lot of mosquito issues at the Miranda station. So that was good.
So this is the kitchen here. It's in a rondavel. This is actually Donna. For those of you that know Donna Stroop, this was her bedroom when she was a kid and lived on the Miranda station. But they've converted it into a kitchen. I don't think we have any inside pictures.
I did put an inside picture up.
But it's got a little propane stove, and it's got a refrigerator that keeps things semi-cool.
Cool.
It doesn't really keep it cold. And there were only 2, we only had 1 refrigerator on the entire mission, and that was that refrigerator. And everything there, when you buy it, it's used. Rarely do you find anything brand new. Cars, any kind of appliance, it's already been used somewhere, and you try to kind of jimmy it together to make it work. So this one didn't have any deflectors. It was either high heat or no heat. So we were trying to design deflectors to get it to where we could.
Yeah, you can diffuse the flame.
You can't diffuse the flame. So little things like that we take for granted every day. That's the conditions that these people in this country live in. This is the church. So where the pickup is, to the right side. To the right side is the church building, and then to the left is a Sunday school room, Vision's little apartment room that he lives in, and then where the guys stayed. There's like 4 or 5 beds back in 6 beds, I think, back in there that we stayed on in that room. And then all of their water comes from wells, and they're pumped up into the tanks and then gravity fed down in. So if the tank's empty, there's no more water. You have to walk 1.5 miles down to the pump to turn the pump on to fill the tank. Then a couple hours later, go down and turn the pump off. And then the people that live in that area, they walk down to the well and get water from the well every day, which is 1.5 miles from the mission station. This is we're going to talk a little bit about the Waiting Mothers area now and the clinic that's there on Miranda. They have a Ministry of Health and Child Welfare, and they're the ones who run all of their health, whether it's a clinic, whether it's a hospital. Closest hospital that they have is 7.5 hours away by road. They have 3 ambulances in the entire country. And those ambulances come out of Harare, which is 7.5 hours from the hospital. They drive down, they pick a patient up, and then they take the patient to the hospital.
And the roads aren't fun. I mean, they're fun, but they're bumpy as heck.
Young fellas on mountain bikes would love them.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can catch a lot of air.
And one of the things too is how we hire people, we hire nurses to be in our hospitals. The government assigns nurses to clinics and hospitals. And so there's no choice for the doctor. The doctor doesn't get a choice. They send 5 people, and those 5 people are trained nurses, and this is who you get and where you go. So liberties and freedoms that we have and we kind of take for granted, they don't have. So that's the Waiting Mothers area. This is the brand new one they built. And so that is the middle bigger building is where they take classes, and their showers and restrooms are, and then they have a kitchen in there. And not a kitchen that what we think of, because they cook over an open flame at like a campfire is how they cook at home. And so the kitchen's a little different. And then the rondavels are where they stay for the night. Those are their rooms. And as of Saturday, this clinic was full with 5 waiting mothers.
Look at the picture.
So, and we have a picture of them at the end. So
This last Saturday.
This last Saturday. There were 3 there when we arrived. My wife was a little depressed. She didn't get to deliver a baby, but...
That's okay. I'll go back and deliver one later. It's fine.
So these are the 3 waiting mothers that were there when we arrived and were there at Miranda. This is their kitchen. They put wood underneath the grill area, and that's a chimney that goes up, and that's how they cook their food. They put the pot on the grill, and they cook over a wood stove, basically. So
They were very gracious. Everybody at no matter where we went, whether we were at Miranda Station in Dene or at the Rush Clinic, everybody was very gracious. They were very kind, and they had no problem with us taking pictures or asking them questions. So they let us take pictures of all sorts of things that here we'd be like, I don't think so, but they were more than happy to talk to us or let us take pictures, whatever.
And sometimes they just grabbed you and took a picture of you randomly with them.
Yeah, that's fun.
But they have to be taught how to use this because, again, they do it over a campfire, and they actually prefer still to use the campfire versus this because that's what they know and what they lived their whole life with. So
When they designed this, Donna's thought was it would be waist high so they wouldn't have to bend over being so pregnant. And when we were there, they were still using the campfire in the old clinic, the old kitchen. But since then, since we've left, they've been using this now. I think someone just had to show them what it was like and how to do it.
So a picture of the rondavel where they stay. They'll come about a month before they give birth. Somewhere right in there, they'll walk out from wherever they happen to live. And one of them that was there when I talked to her, she said she had walked she said 20 kilometers. That's what they do. So it's a little over 20, almost 25 miles, just to come here to deliver her baby. And they're there they try to keep them for 3 days, but a lot of them leave the day after they give birth and go back home. But they try to keep him for 3 days to help him with the baby, to get adjusted and everything. And but most of them just want to go home and leave and be back at their house. So this is that's the inside of the
one of their
rondel.
rooms.
So they have 2 beds in there. That is a typical bed. As guys, that's what we slept on. I think the women, you guys
We
had
slept on the same thing.
Same thing. It's a real thin mattress, and then it's a plywood board, and then metal frame. But that's pretty standard for them if they don't sleep on the floor. So I was really glad not to have to sleep on the floor with the things that crawled on the floor during the night. So this is the inside of the clinic there at Miranda. Mandy and the ladies went back a couple days later, and they were actually seeing patients. This is their waiting area where they get triaged. And if they don't get admitted for the night, they give them what they need and they go home. But this is how they weigh babies, is right here. Kind of like what we do with chicken or...
Well, and she was so sweet. I watched her weighing the baby, and I went to take my camera out to take a picture because I thought it was the cutest thing ever. And she had just taken the baby off, and I don't know if she felt that I was like totally deflated, but I was like, and she looked up and saw me and waved, and I'm like, and she goes, holds up a finger, and then she puts her baby back up there and spins him around so I can get this picture. Yeah, so, and that was a sweet little baby. I got to talk to him and
Yeah.
him a little bit.
So that's a 3-month-old baby there. That was how old the baby was.
He's a big kid.
This is Malusi. This is the preacher that we sponsor monthly. And this is the motorcycle that we delivered to him that the church purchased. And you can't see there, he was in tears. Did someone want to read his? I have it right here, so. But
Everybody over there calls Donna Aunt. That's a term of endearment, and she's been there so much, and she loves the people, and they all call her Aunt. And so he wrote this. I'll read it in his words, which are a little broken, but that's okay. Aunt, I want to thank you. I'll do it over here so people can hear me. Aunt, I want to thank you for the surprise. I am now have the legs for traveling, for evangelizing, and I want to thank you again for the support that you are giving to our community as Miranda, and even at CACC College and all over Zimbabwe. I am called pastor because of you. I'm here today because of you. Sometimes if I look my background, my tears falls. That's why I'm willing to preach Jesus with the charisma of that Jesus is alive. So I want to promise I will stand with you wherever you go. Thank you again.
we thought that was a touching thing to say. One of the things when I talked to him, I asked him what one of his biggest obstacles were when he's preaching or evangelizing, and he said his own family. His own family kind of disowned him when he decided to become a Christian, and really pushed him away when he said he was going to become a preacher. And so that's been his biggest obstacle, is trying to just bring his family to Christ, and because he feels he needs to do that. So that's Malusi. It's too small to see, but that's him and his daughter. He was asked if he could ride the motorcycle, and he said, "Oh yeah, I can ride a motorcycle. I've done it before." And then he rode around a little bit with his daughter on the back of it. And I wish I could have taken a picture of Bob Presley's face because he's rode motorcycles. He's like, no, stop. Because he does need some training. And so he's getting some training in how to use the motorcycle. But currently he goes out to 5 villages each week to preach. He walks to one and then walks home. Walks to another, walks home. This motorcycle will allow him to see 2 to 3 to maybe all 5 villages in one day.
And he has a hope because he grew up on the border of where Danae is, and I can't remember what the other.
Shona, and there was one other language.
No, not the language. It's so you have Danae, and then you've got another little city village where he grew up on the border, and they don't have churches out there. So his prayer is to be able to go and establish churches in that other part, because he was kind of between both. And so he's hoping to be able to establish churches out in that area as well, because there's not churches like there are in Danae. And so the motorcycle will help him be able to do that too. So he was just beyond thrilled. I mean, he is so on fire for God and preaching and teaching people about Jesus. It was amazing to see just his enthusiasm.
So this is a
video.
This is a video. This will kind of give you an idea. The roads out there, some are paved. The pavement's about 3 inches thick. For those that know construction, that breaks pretty easy. So a lot of the road is pretty bumpy. We were heading up to the Rush Clinic, and this road here is all clay. And it had poured down rain the night before, so you can imagine what the road looked like if you've ever been hunting. But this was 7.5 hours. No matter where you went, this is how bumpy the road was.
And we bounced about 10,222 times.
You know that because
According to the Fitbits.
you mistakenly thought they were taking steps.
That's how much we
Steps in
bounced.
one day.
So our Fitbit steps looked awesome when we got back. But this was a Range Rover that, a Land Rover that one of the
Churches.
churches that he works at the Rush station. He came down and got us and drove us back.
Because the van got stuck.
Yeah, our combi got stuck, like stuck.
So we sat there for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Waiting for rides back and forth and different things. They started without us, but only about 10 minutes before. We were supposed to start at 10. We got there at a little after 11, and they had just started. So.
So we missed 10 minutes of the, what,
Yeah.
hour-long introduction of guests? Yeah. This is the dedication. There were 400 plus people at the dedication for this clinic. This clinic, before this clinic became active, they had to walk 25 plus miles to get to a clinic in this area. And now with this clinic here, they don't have to walk nearly as far to be able to go. And they were starting to treat patients, and a patient's sitting there as we're walking through the waiting room, and there's a bottle of Tums beside them. And that really struck me. I mean, we go to the store and buy Tums. They walk to get Tums, So that kind of struck me when I was thinking about that. This is Roger introducing our Oregon team, and Donna. They asked her to be one of the main speakers at the opening, and that's her interpreter beside her. So that was one of the other things that was really odd, was you had to go through an interpreter most of the time, and so you had to say stuff and then wait for them to translate it, or them to look at you because they didn't understand you to translate it. So. This is the group of people. So the ones in the right corner over there are nursing students. They're called the singing nurses. That was one of the things that they did, was they sang between. So Mandy asked them if they were required to sing in order to get into nursing school, and they said no, it helps to get into. And they weren't joking. If they can sing, it helps to elevate them to get into nursing school. So. But that kind of gives you an idea of the crowd. This is the clinic here. The green signifies...
The color is the color of the medical organization that runs everything, and that it's attached to.
Missionary Christian Hospital.
Yeah.
Missionary Christian Hospital, yeah, is that color. So,
It's
but that's the
bright.
ribbon cutting. I know you can't see this very well, but this is the layout of it. Where the waiting room is, where the treatment rooms are, where the if you get admitted for the night, where you would stay. This is their standard area. So this is, if you're admitted, the top one are the beds that you would stay in. And then that's the maternity delivery bed there, and then cribs, and then a sanitation where they sanitize everything is down at the bottom there. They do boil stuff, but it's only, most of it's just washed in water, so, because that's all they have. This shows the waiting area. They were already treating patients, so it was kind of cool because during the dedication, they were doing the speeches and they asked for 5 patients to come forward, and probably, 100 people stood up wanting to be treated.
They treated
They treated the older
the
people.
seniors first.
Yes, the seniors first, and they took 5 seniors and took them back and started treating people in the clinic that day, so. This was our meal. This is kind of an idea, kind of gives you an idea of what the normal meal is. Up on the right, up on the top is beef. They use beef for celebrations only. They don't do it for just regular general meals. It's usually for a celebration of some kind. Normally it would be goat or chicken. Coleslaw down at the bottom, fresh made coleslaw. And then
Salsa.
sadza.
Sadza.
Thank you. Sadza is on the right-hand side and then rice on the left.
And what was interesting about eating it?
That it was just bland.
No, so
it was-
at here, so they eat with their hands, they don't use utensils.
We had
Yeah.
no
So
utensils.
at Rush, we all ate with our hands. So we ate all of our food with our hands. We did carry sanitary wet wipes, and we did carry hand
Yeah.
sanitizer, so, but they'll wash their hands. I mean, they're very clean, they wash their hands before they do anything, and they were eating, so we ate with our hands.
You take some of the salsa and kind of flatten it out or make
And
a
make
little
a little
bit of
spoon
it,
and just kind of scoop stuff up.
Stuff up.
and eat it.
I have
And
no
it's
problem.
it's white cornmeal is what it is. And they just boil water with it, and they just mix it until it's thicker than mashed potatoes.
I was super kind, I didn't include the video of
Thank
Randy
you.
stirring the salsa, because he did not do a phenomenal job, he did okay.
Yeah, they were laughing at me as I was trying to stir this big cauldron of salsa. So this is kind of an idea of the road. 2 days after we went up the road was impassable. They couldn't get cars up it. So people had to walk. And it was probably about 10 or 11 kilometers up the road from the main road.
So to give you an idea of the divots, if I was to get out of the vehicle and stand in one of the ruts, it would come up to my hip.
Wow.
Some of the ruts that were in that road.
And the guy that was driving us, he was sideways. You've all been mudding, 4-wheel driving. And he's sideways and laughing and just carrying on a conversation and driving down the
And we're
road.
all like, oh, this is he had to pull our combi out because it got stuck.
So this is the comedy. This is the one they wanted us to take down the road. As you can see, the little van. This is Sydney and Sydney Jr., is that correct?
Yes.
He's the Bible College president, and that's his son. Senior is. And we asked if we could get out and help, and they're both, no, you don't need to get muddy. We'll take care of it.
And they did, we got out.
So they got us unstuck and got us on our way. This is back at Miranda. These were our cooks for the days that we were at Miranda. They would cook us one meal because one meal was more than enough food for the day.
But we did our own breakfast.
But we did our own
Randy
breakfast.
was our egg fryer.
Yep. And Bob was our sausage.
Bob did all the meat.
Yep. But these ladies here did all of our cooking otherwise. So, and they also cooked for Sunday first service. So this is the church on the inside, and this is their church service. They very simple. I asked them what their setup was, and they said we do worship songs, we do communion, we do testimony, we do sermon. Okay. And it's 2.5 hours long on average. The whole service is, so.
So when Randy preached and he was like 21 minutes, we got done with church and food because they eat every Sunday. Food hadn't been done yet, so we just had to greet everybody and kind of hang out and chat until food was done because they're not used to it being so short.
This is me preaching, and that is Reno Pisa. He is the minister there on the Miranda station. But he was my translator. And we laughed a whole lot afterwards because there were words he didn't understand, and so he would look at me and I'd try to translate, and then he translated out. But it was interesting. This is the outside when we got done. Everybody kind of gathered around. The difference is we usually greet the minister and shake his hand here and then leave. The first person out stepped onto the side of the building, and then they in a line shake each other's hands. So the next person stops, and if you're the last person out, you're shaking and hugging and shaking and all the way around.
It's exactly like
Yep.
a receiving line,
Yep.
mostly hugging.
This was a group of ladies that we took a picture with from the church. This is us there at the entrance to the Miranda Clinic. This is Vision. So if you hear any of us talk about Vision, he's a 21-year-old gentleman, is that correct? Mm-hmm. He's in his senior year, what we would consider his senior year of high school. His biggest concern is he has a test at the end of the year. And if he passes the test, he gets to go to college. If he doesn't pass the test, he has to go work on a farm.
I try to find a job, and jobs are scarce.
And so he wants to pass this test. He doesn't care what he becomes, he just wants to go to college.
And he wants to see the ocean. That's his other dream in
Yep.
life, is to see the ocean.
And Vision is one of the people that Bob Thatcher has really been mentoring. And when we were there 2 years ago, he and Roger and Bob were both showing him how to glaze windows and how to put PVC pipe together for the draining and how to fill the cracks and all the painting, everything, so that he will have a trade he can fall back on. And whenever Bob sees a need over there, he gave Vision a phone, and he keeps in contact and says, this needs to be done, you go do, and he pays him for doing his job. So it's very nice to have him there.
Because they're not super, they're great at getting stuff built with the contractors in country, but they don't necessarily, in the area, most people don't have the skills to maintain what is there. And so part of the mission that they do is when they go there, they'll teach the guys how to do skills to help maintain the buildings that have been put up so that they can keep it nice and functioning for a long period of time.
You would think these people would be excited and want to volunteer in their churches to do all kinds of things. Actually, they're so poor, they live below the poverty level, that they really want to be paid for everything that they do. And it's not because they're greedy, it's because there's no food at home. And if they get paid, the average pay there is $10 a day.
Yeah. And so Bob Presley and I were teaching Vision how to use a planer to plane doors, because the doors would stick, so we pulled all the doors off and we were planing doors. We taught him how to hang coat racks, how to hang, dishwasher, dish towel hangers, things like that. Showed him how to use tape measure, just because they're skills that they don't have, and they don't have anyone teaching them those skills. Mm-hmm. So, this is the waiting mother's picture that Patty received Saturday.
They got a table and chairs in that room.
Yay! Priska was the chaplain there when we were there, and she's a young lady that Donna and her husband put through college, and she became a chaplain. And so she was chaplain for the women's village and for the high school. Then she got married, so she's staying with Benjamin and doing things with them. But
He's a preacher.
He's a preacher. But this is where her heart was. Her family lives there too. And so she and her husband bought a table and chairs, and with Donna's help, so that the ladies have some place.
Because that was just an empty room.
And they're doing crafts.
They're just so happy.
They have a wordless. Is it a wordless?
It's the wordless gospel in
Gospel.
bracelet form with
The
beads.
colors.
Yeah. And then they give them paraphernalia, pamphlets and things about God, and then how to be a mother. How to take care of your child, what sickness is, what it looks like, those kinds of things. So they learn those skills while they're waiting to deliver their babies. We put this picture in just because when we left, we all kind of discussed the church building itself needs to be painted. It needs to have cracks filled. So they're talking about another missionary trip, possibly if we can get enough people from Crabtree as well that would like to go, to be able to work on the church itself.
And go paint the church, because yay, painting's fun.
Inside and out.
For me.
And so, so if that's something that you guys, that anybody would be, wanting to do, we can talk about it and kind of maybe work on next April, next year sometime, going out and working on the church itself.
Getting some fundraising going.
So.
You didn't have the kids singing? You didn't
Sorry, I
We thought we did. This was the elephant that slowed us down getting home from the Boma. So Mandy thought this would be humorous to put into the thing. But no, we'll have to maybe do that next week or something.
I actually just took that to send to my daughter because it was funny.
Yeah.
But no, if you guys have any questions for us, let us know. Kurt?
Yeah, I couldn't help but wonder that really nice motorcycle and then the vehicle you were riding and so on. How plentiful, how expensive is gasoline?
So gasoline sounds really cheap. It's
petrol.
It's $2.83 a liter.
So
it comes out to almost $9 a gallon.
$8 to $9 a gallon.
So.
So not much more than this year.
How does the pastor afford the gasoline?
Pastors usually make about $300 a month, which averages $10 a day.
The guy we saw up there, the guy with the motorcycle.
Yes.
Yeah, Malusi.
Right now, he's at $200 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we need to try and get him back up to 300. That covers his fuel and food, well, his living expense for he and his daughter too. He is living in the old missionary guest house. It really is, it's a rough go. It's hard, it cracks, roof leaks, those kinds of things. That's something that we'll want to change in the future.
How accessible is that gas? Does he have to go 20 miles to go get gas?
About an hour away to
Yeah.
Utanga.
Randy, people have been asking me, we know you took all the supplies over and stuff, and you talked a little bit about that you were teaching them how to measure and how to plane windows and stuff. And when you went over, did you have a project that you were going to do, like build a house or paint a house? Did you get any of the maintenance stuff done? I'm not using the right terminology.
No.
But what did you do there?
So originally when we went over, the goal, Bob Presley and I thought that we would be doing manual labor. But the goal that Donna had for our team was to go over and just be with people. They did do a well and got the well connected. The Rush Clinic, that was the main project, but that was being done by contractors. And so that was completed a day after we did the dedication. The well was completed, water was to the clinic, and everything was functional. That was the only big project. The other project was just to go to the Miranda station and just be with the people and do little projects like that. So,
There's always projects, dozens.
Yeah,
always something to do.
Yeah, we were busy hanging things, little tiny things, but we had no major projects.
And we spent time with like the waiting mothers or like the kids that were there. I was sitting chatting with the kids to the best of my ability. They tried to teach me how to play a game they were playing. I clearly did not understand the game, but they were gracious enough and didn't give me a hard time about it. But yeah, so she wanted us to be present in the moment and just be present with people to build relationships. So that way when you come back, they have a known person they know that they're excited to, and then it's easier to introduce the new people that come. And so we did do a lot of little things, but we didn't do anything major personally ourselves.
We didn't have the same amount of time frame as we did when we went 2 years ago. We were there for closer to 3 weeks, and we only stayed at Miranda. So that's why we did a whole lot of projects there that time. And our time frame was different, it was shorter, and we had the dedication, and basically anywhere you go, it takes time because of the roads. So going even to Rush was over 3 hours, and then we had to sit and wait for 2 hours because of the mud. So travel a lot of times.
Takes a lot.
Takes a lot of time, so, yeah. But no, the only major projects were done by contractors. And we went over and made sure that that was taken care of, so.
But that's why we looked at the buildings and stuff and like, well, the church could be painted, we could do this, we could do that. So if they take another trip back, then we can just stay at the station because there's no major clinics that are being built right now. And then they can get like the Miranda station all caught up with paint and fixing stuff. Or, you know, there's some buildings at Rush that could probably use some new paint and some update stuff. And so those are the kind of projects that they're looking to do the next time they take groups in.
Did that answer that question, ma'am?
Okay. Good. Okay.
Anything else?
Not L.